Earth05 for having us. We are both very excited to have this conversation, and we're also very happy that we were chosen to be the runner-up in the award that Earth05 is hosting, and also very, very proud of being a part of the Earth05 journey, which seemed to be an exciting journey going forward. So here with me, Loren from SKYH2O.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, and we will have some chat now going forward in the next 40 minutes, and then leave 10 minutes for Q&A. But I'd like you to start, Loren, to give us a little bit insight of the journey of SKYH2O. How did it all start? Where did it come from?
Sure. You know, about 7 years ago, Alex von Welczeck, our CEO, exited from a successful solar company, and he was looking for something new. And as a pioneer in the solar industry, he was looking for something in the future, and he thought that water was going to be a big deal. And that was 7 years ago, and it's still a big deal. It's becoming a bigger deal every day. And I've known Alex for over 20 years, and he tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, Loren, I need some help on this one." And so I've worked with Alex on 3 or 4 different startups in a marketing capacity. So now I'm the director of marketing for SKYH2O. And at SKYH2O, we make water out of the air. And it's not a new technology, but we've scaled it up so that it's meaningful now. We can create lots of water. Would you like me to share a deck?
Yeah, please. Can you give us some insight about that? And obviously afterward we have a conversation, but it would be great if you can share some slides and light the audience of what you guys are doing.
Sure. Can you see my slides?
Yes, we can.
All right. So there's our title screen, and then let me go here. So our mission is to supply the world's most sustainable water. And to do that, we're using the air, which is all around us. We've got all kinds of different products and different sizes, and I'll go into our products here in a moment. But as most people here on the screen in this meeting already know, over 3.5 billion people are water stressed today, and they don't have access to clean, healthy water. And by 2050, it's going to increase to over 5 billion. So there's definitely a need for clean water. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. In fact, in the United States, over 45% of the water has got chemicals in it. So it's more and more, not scarcity, but toxicity. That's going to be the problem. So SKYH2O uses the hydrologic cycle, which is the natural cycle of water evaporating into the air. And that's where we harvest all of our water from. We have these high-speed turbofans that suck in the air. They cool the air to the condensation level, and that's how we extract most of the water. After we extract the water, we filter it, mineralize it, make it taste better, change the pH. Otherwise, it would just be distilled water, and that's where Wayout will come in. And I'm sure that Ulf will explain his technology later, but then we create this beautiful, tasting, healthy water for all to enjoy. So we mimic nature by condensating, kind of like what water does on a cold beer mug or a glass of water. And by scaling atmospheric water generation, we can create, with one of our units, close to 3,000 gallons or 10,000 liters, over 10,000 liters of water per day at 80% humidity at 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Some of the systems we have, the base of all our systems is the AWG Maximus 4260. And we've just increased our output about 3%, which doesn't seem like a lot, but as we incrementally increase, just like solar, our efficiency will get better. Before it was just 10,000, now we're at 10,800 liters per day. In development, we've got something even bigger on the books coming up. And the Mega Maximus will produce up to 100,000 liters per day for each unit. So 10 units strung up together, then we're looking at 1 million liters per day of drinkable water. Something else that's very interesting and exciting is the building integrated units, where you'd have one of these units at the top of the building, and it would supply the water for all the residents or offices of that building. Some of the products that we're using them for a microstation. We have 2 units with a storage tank, and that'll do 20,000 liters per day with just 2 of these together. There's some redundancy there. If one goes bad, the other one's still producing water. And with this 2-unit system, it's very nice for distributed water. generation so that you don't have to have one source of the water. You can spread it out where it's needed. For instance, in the war zone of Gaza, as soon as that conflict is over, we want to put some of these microstations throughout the area so that the people have water. With the SKYH2O station, we can do up to 100,000 liters per day, and we'll have a bottling unit in there. And then from there, we can sell the water or private label for anybody and have bulk water available as well. Now, the SKYH2 Water Center is built upon the Mega Maximus that each unit does 100,000 liters per day, and we can do millions of liters of water per day. So it's like an industrial water farm. Currently, we're working with governments and leaders in Texas, Florida, Spain, Malta, and the UAE. We're set up to do business in the UAE already. And we've got a very exciting project in Malta could be a great pilot for us. And most recently, we've made some great inroads in the Caribbean, which we can talk about later. We've done a lot of research already. We've got boots on the ground in the USA, Europe, the GCC, Latin America, and Africa. Impact on lives is very important. The sweet spot for atmospheric water generation, of course, is along the equator. So 20 degrees above, 20 degrees latitude below the equator is also a great spot. Just in those areas alone, we can easily reach our goal of 500 million lives affected by creating these SKYH2O water stations with the help of Wayout as well. Atmospheric water generation is environmentally responsible. There's really no negative impacts on the environment other than cooling the air, a very negligible amount. Atmospheric water generation water is renewable in the same way that solar and wind is always available to us. And in fact, with climate change and the increase in temperature, we're getting more humidity and actually more water in the atmosphere to harvest. So we're scalable. We're going to be in all these different countries and continents. It's our target in the next 5 years, 100 SKYH2O stations. And we support many of these sustainable development goals, but number 6, clean water and sanitation for all is our main focus. So thank you. You can take a screenshot of this if you want, but our founder, Alexander von Welczeck, would be happy to chat with you if you have any interest. All right, Ulf. I'm done.
Great. Thank you so much, and really clear presentation. May I just start with a maybe stupid question? I'm an engineer myself and have some at least physics in background, but is the first time I saw these AWG, let's say air water generation systems, I was like, the first intuitive question would be, okay, are we destroying the air now and getting the air dry, or what's happening? Can you just kill that worry?
Sure. We are making the air drier, but the amount of air that we're using is like a drop in the ocean, and it constantly gets rehumidified with all the evaporation going on in the hydrologic cycle. So as we're expelling dry air, more humid air is being replaced by the atmosphere. So really have a negligible effect on the environment. And there's no desalination, there's no chemicals, there's no byproduct in the water. We're creating distilled water. And with Wayout and filtration system, it's all going to be drinkable. In fact, if you don't need it to be filtered for industrial uses, it's even faster. But ideally, the value here is the water to drink.
Amazing. Is there anything, again, I have let's say, an engineering background, and in my past, I haven't seen numbers of those units out in the field. Is there something recently that has happened that makes it more, let's say, cost efficient or more reasonable to build this kind of technology? Is there some kind of development that has happened?
Well, to build it, actually, it hasn't gotten any less expensive because of the world economic situation right now with materials and resources. But the technology is getting better as far as management of power. And with the use of AI, we know when to ramp up power because we know when the power costs will go down. In fact, in some cases in Texas, power is free in the evening because they're overproducing. So that's AI is really going to help us produce more water more efficiently. With SKYH2O, our units are twice as big as the nearest competitor. So this is no different than a dehumidifier you'd have in your home extracting water out of the basement, just on a larger scale. Think about the same size as a 40-foot container is one of our units. So, but technology definitely was helping through artificial intelligence.
Okay, so it's a kind of combination of tech development and also what is possible on the digital side to make things more efficient.
Correct. There may be some stuff with nanoparticles and nanomaterials on some of our collection areas inside the machine that we can utilize and take advantage of in the future, but it's only getting better as time goes on.
Okay, so let's talk real world deployment. Where have you installed units, and where do you see the let's say perfect site location? You show the case with the equator, obviously, but is there any specific areas you target more than the other, and do you have some reference cases to verify that?
So right now we've had 2 units in the field. We're ready. These are TRL9 and ready to produce. They've been proven third-party engineer tested. So they create waters as expected at the rate at 80 degrees Fahrenheit and 80% humidity. We have 1 unit in Texas right now being tested by a private party for, I've heard, the military, but I can't say it here. I can't deny that or say it's true, but that's where that one's at. And we've had one at a golf course just as a demo, but we've actually gotten rid of that unit because the second generation is much better. So we're ready to deploy, and we've got locations in Texas queued up in Houston, Texas. In Houston, it's not that they don't have water, but a lot of it's polluted in the ground and they can't drink it. Another area that we're focused in, and they're very excited to have us there, is in Florida. Same problem, toxic, terrible tasting water, and the population centers there need clean water. And a new area that's also very exciting, and we've made great inroads in, is the Caribbean. And any kind of island situation where water is scarce, polluted, or their infrastructure is old and decrepit and the water is undrinkable. Water in these islands is very expensive. It all has to be shipped in, either usually by boat, and the prices of water on those islands is incredible. So SKYH2O and Wayout on an island situation would be perfect. So for us,
Yeah, that's really true. I mean, we made some early investigation as well, as if you are deploying the water from the water table, you are sucking in basically saline water into the water table. And it takes like 1,000 years to get it sweet again. So
correct. There's a lot of
that's been
saltwater
incredibly interesting.
Yes, yes. So we're really focused in right now. We've got some great partners in the Caribbean. DCK Builders is one of the primary general contractors we've identified as a partner in the Caribbean, and they're responsible for all the luxury resorts and hotels like Ritz-Carlton, Wyndham, Marriott, all the big ones. And they're excited to work with us because they know how big of a problem water is on these islands.
Amazing. So when you that's kind of give a very good view on the application sites or where in the world it could be really a great opportunity for you and also for the obviously the consumers or the people. Can you give us some insight on who is your customer in these different areas? Do you target one segment? You have several segments, or who do you see as your primarily client on that side?
We've got a few targets. The municipalities and governments that want to provide clean water for their citizens. For instance, in Houston, the governments there have been very nice to us and have showed us investors, land sites that they'd be willing to give us breaks on taxes and financial breaks on. And then also on the private side, these resorts and luxury resorts all need water. And also in the GCC, they're also very interested because they have high humidity, very little water. They use a lot of desalination there, but they understand what that's doing to the environment and they want to get away from that. So it's a good mix of government and private entities that want to do business with SKYH2O.
Okay.
We need some investment to get us to that next hurdle of producing some of these SKYH2O stations and microstations, which are greatly needed.
Yeah. So just give some insight on your and your founders and your team's vision for the future. Where's this journey heading? How many units, or how do you see yourselves changing the world in that aspect?
Well, our goal for this Earth05 contest was 100 units, 100 stations in 5 years, which is ambitious. I think it's doable with the right partners and the right amount of financing. We need to get a pilot and proof of concept out, and it'd be a perfect one to do possibly in Malta with a Wayout, or even one of these Caribbean nations that we've been discussing with, having talks with.
Yeah.
They're very eager to get us in there. So as soon as we get that first investor to push us over that hurdle, we can start right away.
Talking about investors, there might even be some in this room. So what would you describe as your wish list, and how do you describe your kind of perfect investor? What are you searching for if you could have the choice to choose?
Well, SKYH2O is for the people, profit, and planet. So if they have like minds and they want to make an impact on the earth, that would be a great investor for us. Our past investors we've had all think the same way. They know that water is a problem and they see the future. And that they've helped us come this far, and we're almost there. So our next investors will be very similar and willing to take that leap. The price of water right now is $1.50 per bottle for single sale in the United States. That's equivalent to about $9.80 per gallon of water. And on average, it's about 6 cents a gallon of water for us to make it. It's all correlated, a direct relation to the cost of power. But our margins in bottled water are huge, and the upside is incredible. And I can't wait, or my CEO can't wait to show you what the upside is of investing in SKYH2O and Wayout as well, because you're a vital part of making that water delicious and healthy. So
amazing journey ahead. I mean,
yes,
so
for sure.
if you just, are you searching for any particular industrial partners as well in this journey?
We're always open to talking to partners that can add value to our supply chain, maybe a builder or general contractors. Anybody can introduce us to potential customers as well. So for sure, we're open to any partnership that would help us further the water.
Great. Thank you so much. I mean, very exciting journey, and blue skies or blue waters ahead. And
for sure.
I'm pretty sure that you will get the partners you deserve, and the investors will come as well. So I mean, we all know water is a big issue right now, and it will get even worse in the future.
Yeah, people don't know how bad it's going to get until it's not there, and then they'll be screaming, "Where is this?" And
yeah,
you've heard
unfortunately, we know.
Yes, and you've heard the adage, "When's the best time to plant a tree?" And that was 20 years ago, is when the best time to plant a tree was, not now. So we have to act now for the future. So
great. Thank you.
Let's why don't you hand it off to me, and let's learn about Wayout.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, my name is Ulf. I'm the founder of Wayout, founded in 2019. My background is engineering and building pharmaceutical plants. I'm coming from the hygiene sector. But if I may share the screen, I can run you through some parts of the journey and who we are. Let's see if I can make it happen. Are you seeing the full screen? Let's see.
I'm seeing your full computer. There you go.
You don't see my full screen?
Now I do.
Okay. No, so even in the name, we have some kind of explanation and ambition. So Wayout comes from the idea of enabling technology far out, way out, anywhere. And one of our first installation was in Serengeti, close to the first footstep of Lucy, or the first footsteps of humans. But we also want to create a way out of the current matrix or the current industrial matrix. All the co-founders and partners have been a part of building the industry as it looks today. And we all know the advantages, but also the disadvantages. And sometimes I've learned that you say to people that are a little bit crazy that they are way out. So maybe that's a part of it. So you have all heard the challenge, and Loren, it's basically the same slide as you show. The water quality is getting worse. We have PFAS, microplastic, hormones all over the place. The water scarcity, 1/3 of humanity live in water scarce region, according to United Nations, is not getting better, it's getting worse, actually. The plastic waste is one of our key issues as well. 1.5 million plastic bottles are sold every day, and only 9% is recycled. And then the transport, which is one of the key issues when it comes to the water industry. We learned recently that for the bottled water companies, 60% of the cost comes from transport and logistics and plastic, which means not only CO2 emissions, but also cost. So this is something we see in the news, and we live and breathe every day. And I think most of the people are seeing this as well. Maybe we see it a little bit more than others because we're involved in it. So we believe from Wayout that we have a solution to basically all those issues by developing a concept that is modular, that is a distributed technology similar to what SKYH2O, what you guys are doing. And we have a containerized solution, a bit like you have as well, which is this part that you see on the left side. It's a 20-foot size container, and it can take any water source. It can take seawater, river water, industrial wastewater, borehole water, rainwater, whatever. And we turn it into basically H2O, take away the microplastic, hormones, PFAS, and we're adding the minerals. That is something that is quite known technology. We believe we do it some more efficient and some with higher quality. But the next part is the end of that containerized solution. And that's where we are filling vessels in a closed automatic way, which is not in plastic, but in stainless steel food grade. So these are sizes comparable to the 5-gallon that you see out in the market, which is actually the fastest growing water business globally. That's where most of the people in the world taking their bulk water from. So we're filling these vessels automatically, and then they are going with last mile delivery, same as the logistics is today, but it's just in a much, much smaller circular area, which means that instead of driving stuff from France in Evian down to Dubai, we're placing it close to the consumers in Dubai, and we have a very, very short distance transport. Then we have developed dispensers that is also taking care of the, let's say, dispensing and where you're consuming the water. And all the way through from the source to the mouth, it's a closed, it's with high integrity, and you cannot tamper with it. It's the same thing when you hear the plastic bottle, you had a click when you open it up. And the reason for that is that you need to trust the water. If you get an open glass of water in an area where you don't trust the water, you will not drink it. So we have to mimic that. When the vessel is empty, it moves back to the microfactory, and we clean it with ozone, which means that we have no chemicals in the process. It's a total circular system. We don't use single-use plastic, and we avoid most of the long-distance transport. This means that it's a sustainable, circular, and it's also very profitable because we are avoiding the most cost, let's say, the items that is most costly, the plastic and the transport. So then back to the source, I mentioned we can take salt water. If we take salt water, we will have the issue like everyone else has. We're not better or worse than anyone else. We will have a reject of brine. And that's today, it's not a good idea, really. And you talked about island nation. We believe still this is a perfect installation for island nation, among other places. But we don't want to create another, let's say, environmental catastrophe by injecting a lot of brine into the sea or into the land. So the partnership with SKYH2O is enabling us to really say we can take any water source, because then we can avoid the most toxic, let's say, water source there is, which is the sea, and doing it directly from the air together. So The dispenser technology is also quite simplified. We can even use the vessels themselves that are stackable. We have an IoT solution on top of it, so we can measure all the consumption and data points. And I forgot to mention, back to this, we have 200 IoT points in the microfactory itself. The microfactory is produced by our industrial partner, Alfa Laval. All the IoT automation is done by Siemens, who is also using Wayout as their showcase on events like COP28 or CES in Las Vegas, or now in coming New York Climate Week, we will have a keynote there as well. Cool. So we have then solved, back to this one, we have then solved basically a clear replacement of the 5-gallon one. It's not even disruptive. We can replace it directly. We can put our kegs on top of current dispensers because we have an adapter piece with our IoT connection, but you can also use our adapter. So that's a $20 billion market, and that's a huge plastic waste generation. But then it comes to the on-foot deployment with the bottles where people are moving around. We then have developed together with a partner an ATM that can be integrated in our machine, where you can even clean your own stainless steel bottle or fill and purchase a new one on site. So that's also something we can integrate. And the clients for us could be in various sectors. You see a couple of different images here. We have the household or everywhere where you are drinking the water at home. And then we are working with the current water brands and offering them a platform like Danone, Bisleri, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, Nestle. We've just been approved by Nestle through a due diligence process of 6 months, Nestle Waters. And then we have the hospitality industry. You can imagine these fancy dispensers and stuff, but also, like you mentioned, whether it's in Gaza or in other parts of the world where you have a challenge of even getting the water. We never compromise with the quality of the water or the safety of the vessels. But of course, in some areas, we don't need these fancy dispensers. It can be a very, very simple mechanical tools, but still with the same quality of water and the same integrity. So I just mentioned now, this is a village in Ukraine. It's a difficult name to pronounce it. I will try. Velikoleksandrivska, where we are placing the first of 40 units. I'm actually just received a message and an invitation to Ukraine next week. We are signing a large project with the government of Ukraine to support the horrible situation on the front line with 40 of our systems. And very exciting to get there and to see what we can do to help people in need as well with our technology. And good to know that when we are bringing the technology with this high tech, almost looks like fancy, we're still cheaper per price per liter than the current municipal water that they are distributing to the villages. So I stop here just by showing you an image that it's also high tech, but it's also consumer designed by the end, because we also have to be creating the trust and the appreciation by the consumers themselves.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ulf. That was amazing. So you didn't, there's so many questions I have, but what started the whole journey of Wayout?
I mean, it's a combination of things. It's a frustration. I was working a lot with finding ways for corporate to take responsibilities, all these CSR activities and everything. And I always struggle with, why don't we do something that is in the core or DNA good, so we don't have to do it? So that's one thing. We wanted to create a product or a company that the more we do it, the better it is for the people on the planet. The other thing is the frustration by traveling a lot in Africa and working with some help organizations there. I always saw that the poorer people were, the worse technology they got, like rusty crap of things that never did work after a month. So I was like, there should be a way to build it robust and with the best quality, and then find another financial solution for it instead. So that was one of the reasons. And then obviously in my industrial background, I've been a part of building a lot of centralized system. I believe with the technology we have today, we can start doing it differently. We can start doing it with distributed technology like yourself, like the internet, like the 5G mast instead of having one radio mast in a country, like the solar panel, like the power grids, which I hope will also be the case for the food industry in the future.
You mentioned about, I forget how many, 200 IoT points in your unit?
Yeah, 200 IoT points in the what we call the microfactory, which is the manufacturing side of it. But that's kind of traditional probings, what you find in any kind of manufacturing sites out there. Maybe we do more, but it's the same. So we control every single detail that is happening, which means by machine learning, we can improve, make it more efficient, control quality and everything. But that's kind of standard stuff.
Right. Are you leveraging AI at all? I know that's a buzzword these days, but really it's an amazing tool. Does Wayout use this at all?
Yes and no. I mean, we're on the way of using it. I think machine learning is probably the most let's say easy way for us to get in let's say deeper into the digital journey, which is the traditional improvement of efficiency by the end of the day. We can call it a lot of things, but it's improvement of efficiency. But when we are stretching our minds into our consumption point, we're starting to interact with consumers. And obviously there you can do a lot of AI stuff in the future. Imagine you have an area where you can find that you have a lack of some minerals or some other kind of content that you usually get in the water. You can immediately facilitate that. You can even do that on a personal level, on a community level, or on the country level. So the interaction between the technology, the product, and the humans, of course, there's a lot of AI futuristic opportunities there.
Right. With Wayout, you mentioned changing the water per use case. Can you make different waters for athletes, for pregnant mothers? How does that work with your filtration system and your minerals?
I mean, inside the filtration system, we are mimicking nature by mineralizing it through a system of rocks, but we can control the minerals according to a recipe. So when we are working with brands like Nestle or Pepsi or Danone, we can mimic their profile so that they have the same taste as their plastic bottled water, so that they have a platform for doing it differently. So that's one way, but then that's for a micro factory. And we will not change it every day. That's kind of you set the scene for a month at least, or something like that. But then by the end of the day, we are developing profiled water at the consumption point. Imagine at the dispenser you have something you can add, and then you can tailorize that to your own preference. So we're working with that. We're not there yet, but for the tailoring of the let's say the water that comes as the general water, we can do it in different profiles.
Right. So can you flavor it, and you can make different?
Yes, we can. We haven't moved into that space yet, but yes, we can.
Okay, fantastic. Now, you asked me a great question about SKYH2O and our investor profile, and I'll ask you the same. Tell me about the investors you have now. What would be the perfect investor for you?
Yeah, we done. I mean, probably similar like you. We done the normal journey through investing from founders, early angels, specifically in the beverage industry, through family office from impact side. Now running into more VC. We have three great VCs in our cap table, and now opening up for a major Series B. We are looking for companies that have really large ambition on the global stage. That could be companies that could open doors in different segment or areas of the world, that really understand kind of the major opportunities that lies in this water space. I mean, sometimes we refer ourselves, probably the wrong word to say today, but as Tesla for water. But that kind of give you some kind of idea that we're not seeing ourselves as an equipment manufacturer. We're seeing ourselves as changing the paradigm for how you actually produce and distribute and dispense water.
Yeah, I agree. The value is in the water we produce, not the machinery. You can only make so much money with the widget.
Exactly.
What the widget makes, that is where we shine, both of us. So
Exactly. And again, back to what we discussed earlier, when it comes to the island nation, which is a huge market and it's a horrible problem in some areas. Just look at what happened in Mayotte last year with the drought, where the French government were sending 20 million plastic bottles a month as a new infrastructure. We could have both together solved that with less money and with a 30-year lifetime of infrastructure and with no plastic bottles.
no plastic. That's a huge one. Um, yeah, Mallorca is bad. Malta right now also is a perfect spot for us. And as any place with high humidity and power, it's all we need.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, is there any particular place in the world, or you're not as reliant on humidity as SKYH2O is, but do you have a sweet spot that you like to be in, or anywhere is your spot?
I mean, we obviously we have to focus. We can't be. We are a small company. We can't be anywhere. But the sweet spot for us is where you have high-priced water,
Mm,
or if you have high challenges with the water. So
yeah.
one area is obviously the access to water, where sometimes there is not, let's say, strong financial means. But on
Mhm.
the other hand, you have also the other area where you have high-priced water. It could be United States, it could be the Mediterranean area, it could be the Middle East, etc.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, the cost of water is a driving force for us. So that's a good spot. So is there anything else for Way Out that you'd like to say before we conclude your
No, we just can't wait to work together and set up the first combined system. It's maybe good to mention both of our technology are proven. We have had the units out since 2020. We have a showroom in Dubai that's been part of the world or the COP28. We were part of the World Expo. Your technology is proven. It's a plug and play system. We just
Mhm.
we just need to find the site, the arrangement, the local operator, and get going.
Yeah, just a little push is all we need. That's all we're asking. So um after let's see, we've got how much time we have? 10.
Yeah, no, I think we're moving into the Q&A. I think I, at least on my side, you had brilliant question. I think there's always more to talk about, but I hope it's quite clear where both of our technology can make a difference and how the journey has looked like. So
Yeah.
let's dig into and see if there is some questions from the audience. And looking on the first one here, let's see uh, if I can handle this well. Yeah, it is to you, Loren, from let me see, from Brett. Can you describe the economics of the SKYH2O system, capex cost, operation cost, and cost per liter once it runs smoothly?
Um I can touch upon that briefly. I'm marketing guy and I know some of the numbers. For instance, the unit, the AWG unit itself, the 4260 is about $500,000 per unit. A micro station with 2 units, a Wayout filtration system, and a storage tank is about $2 million. Um, there's some of your CapEx costs. The other two, SkyShow Station, that's a little more, but like $25 million for 15 units and a bottling line and the building itself. So there's some of the CapEx on that. Operating costs, I don't have the firm numbers on that, but I'd love to set up a meeting with you so we can go over that. And the cost per liter, I know the cost per gallon is about 6 cents. So maybe 1.5 cents per liter. And really, it's direct correlation to the cost of power. If the power is free, then it's close to free. Once the machine starts running, we just need power to do it.
Yeah.
That's as far as I can go.
Okay, thank you, Loren. We have another question from Alejandro. His question is first, he
Cool.
says, great presentation. Thank you so much from both of us. And he asked Wayout what type of IoT sensor suite is embedded into each unit. How does the system self-report on filter wear, filter quality, etc.? So, I mean, we have 200 IoT connections and probes, and it's the usual one you see in the process industry. We are measuring obviously all the valves on off. We are measuring flow. We're measuring pH. We are measuring basically everything that is happening there. And by doing so, we can predict when we have, let's say, a filtration possible damage or where there is a need for replacement. So you're checking pressure drops, you're checking flow, you're checking any other kind of let's say deviation from the normal. So I don't want to make a list on all of them, but basically we have everything that you find on the market inside this unit. And then Alejandro is asking you, Loren, what's your current energy to water ratio, kilowatt hour per liter, sorry, and how does that compare with desalination and solar power water solution?
I don't have a comparison for you, but I know each unit's 120 kW. The new units are, and depending upon how much humidity you have is going to be part of that equation. I'm sorry, I don't have an exact percent for the ratio for you, but I know it's been estimated 1.5 to 2 cents per liter of water.
Great. So we got another question from someone. Have your water output received certification under NSF, ANSI 61 or similar regulation bodies in major market EU, US, and MENA? I can start by answering. We just received the approval from UAE to supply our water into let's say the consumer market. So from our side, we are fulfilling all the regulatory aspects. In some countries, you need always a specific certificate, but we have, as far as we know, let's say, made our water available to any kind of quality that we have found so far out in the market. Some of the certificate we haven't been asked for yet, but the first one we got now is from UAE.
I can add to that. I think our water in Texas has been certified and tested by TCEQ to pass the Texas quality standards, and also meets or exceeds WHO standards for the World Health Organization. So, and with Wayout attached to a SKYH2O machine, we can make it taste like anything and be as healthy as you want.
Great. Thank you. We got another question from Brett. Same question basically that was towards you, Loren, about our capital cost, operating cost, and cost per liter, and also capital needs. So our system is, the importance with our system is always to target the price per liter that is lower than the current system you have in the plastic bottled water. So that's what we've been fighting for 3, 4, 5 years now, to get into that element of, let's say, lower cost per liter. So basically, you could say that our capex per system is $2.5 million for 20,000 liter per day. That gives you let's say, an idea of that. When we do financial, let's say, proposal, because we have received a good agreement together with the Saudi Exim Bank, because our solar panel and battery packs come from Saudi, we can give extreme good rates on the financing. We are, in our calculation, giving away the water for between 3.5 to 5 cents per liter. That's include everything, the vessels, the dispensers, the microfactory, the depreciation, the finance, everything. So that's a price per liter that you could compare to buying a ready bottle out there. And usually in most parts of the world, that can create a huge margin. So we just made a big investigation with Nestle Waters. We were able to, let's say, virtually improve their margin from 10% to 50% on their water supply, which is quite high number for the water industry. And we are raising a very small round, like now, for 3 million euro. We have already 1.5. We're closing it in a quite near future. The evaluation currently is what we believe is very low. It's only 15 million euro or US dollar approximately. And we are making a Series B, probably with a directed new issue, with a valuation which is 4 to 5 times higher in the next 6 months.
Fantastic.
So I think let's see, we have.
You see that last question about from Electrify Africa?
Yeah, let me see if there was.
What about testing this in Central Africa, also on solar plant? What is the capacity?
Yeah, that's the one. What about testing in Central Africa also? Yeah, I mean, on our side, we have already 3 systems in East Africa working. And I guess that would be an excellent place for you as well, Loren.
Correct. As long as they've got the humidity, we're open to it, and then get the financing in place and a good partner there, we can build it.
So let's do it.
Yes, let's go.
And I think by this we'll thank everyone that stayed with us and listened. Thank you for all the good questions. I hope it gives some insights of what we're doing. And reach out to Loren's team or our team or to Earth05 if you want to have some further information or connect.
Yes, you can also visit SKYH2O.com. There's a lot of videos there and information and spec sheets. I'm sorry if I wasn't able to answer your questions about the power ratios or the cost per liter, but I can get to that answer when we need to. So please reach out and contact us. Contact Ulf as well at Wayout. So that's it.
Amazing. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Talk to you soon.